Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the RacingBet preview. Apologies by us, we're about 10 minutes over time, but just as we were about to click the go live button, of course, we lost all our replays that we had backed up ready to go. So apologies, and just have to bear with us again through those technical difficulties. But we're here, we are live, and we are brought to you by the tab.com.au. If you're having a bet this weekend, head to tab.com.au. We thank them for their continued support throughout the Spring Carnival. And we're on day 2 of 3, really, Trent, of the Melbourne Spring Racing Carnival. Cox Plate weekend. We've got Manikato Stakes night at Moonee Valley tomorrow night, followed by, of course, Cox Plate Day on Saturday. A couple of rich races over in Sydney at Randwick. We'll get to our best bets over there as well, but plenty to get through. Welcome to another week. How's things?
Yeah, very good. It's an exciting time, isn't it? You know, we got here in Melbourne, got lockdown finishing Friday into Manikato night, into Cox Plate Day. It's a huge weekend. Yeah, it's all happening. Cox Plate's my favourite race of the year, each and every year. I can't wait for another great edition this year.
All right, and as we did last week, we had a fantastic live show last week with plenty of interaction from those watching along. If you do have a question throughout the show or any thoughts, or you just want to add something to the show, make sure you do pop it in the comments wherever you're watching. We're live streaming on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So just pop a comment on whichever streaming service you are following us on, and it'll pop up on our screens and we can share it throughout the show. So plenty came through last week, Trent, and it'll be good to have them come through once again. So if you've got any thoughts, let us know. If you are watching on Facebook, make sure you like our Facebook page. If you're watching on YouTube, please like this and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Every little bit helps us. And we enjoy doing it for you. So hopefully you get something out of the show as well. Best bets, best value bets for Saturday. We're going to be bringing those to you. We're going to have a look at tomorrow night's Manikato Stakes, and we're also going to have a look at the Cox Plate, of course, in a little bit more depth. Plenty of replays stacked up, as I said. So, there's plenty to get through on this week's show. Trent, typically, can you let us know how Moonee Valley tends to play on Manikato Stakes night into Cox Plate weekend back-to-back?
Yeah, so with the 2-day carnival, what can often happen on the Friday night, especially if there's no rain, is that it can play very fast because they haven't they're kind of expecting it to chop up as the weekend goes on. So it can generally play very firm, very fast. The rail can definitely be the place to be. So leaders can be advantaged. There is a bit of rain around on Friday and Saturday. Look, it's tough to predict exactly how much of that is going to hit. I'm kind of going off potentially a good track Friday night and a soft 5 to 6 range on the Saturday, which might see them start to get off the fence a little bit later by the time the Cox Plate comes around. But yeah, Friday night can be a lightning rail, especially if it's not wet.
All right, let's kick off this week's show with the Manikato Stakes tomorrow night at Moonee Valley. Not a vintage edition of the Group 1, Trent?
It's not. It's a strong field and a competitive field, but there's no doubt that the Everest, being the week before, has diluted the quality of it. Hopefully, something can be done in the future to just tweak the positioning of the race on the calendar, and we can get back to, a quality Group 1 field again.
All right, let's share the market courtesy of tab.com.au. Bring it up quickly. All right, current favourite is Sava to Excel. Can you believe this horse was beaten on? Wasn't he beaten on the dirt in Darwin like a year ago?
He was beaten about 6 lengths in a Northern Territory derby or something stupid. So, look, he's reinvented himself as a sprinter, and he's a pretty good one at that.
Yeah, well, he heads up the market at $4.60, closely followed by Lombardo, aiming for 4 straight wins at $4.80. Then you're out to the likes of Ingratiating, trying to bounce back from a big old flopperoonie last start. He's at $7. You've got Jonker at $8, Sneaky 5 down here at $9, and double figures the rest. I'll pass over to you, Trent. Why don't you kick us off with your Manikato Stakes preview?
Yeah, I'm with horse number 2, Jonker, on top here. I think we've taken a bit of an early price with some of the premium stuff we're doing here. So this is him last start behind Masked Crusader. You can see him back towards the inside, the white, the navy cap there, and he's quite unlucky there. He's held up. He didn't lead as he often does, and he kind of took a sit. Doesn't really get a whole lot of room. Masked Crusader obviously burst through, was very good, and Jonker, never really got a big chance to build his momentum. I thought he ran okay. He's obviously much better when he's leading and he's able to roll along. Happy to forgive his first up run at Flemington down the straight. He pulled up with a lot of issues post-race. I just don't think he handled the straight either at all. I think he's much better around a bend. Go back to some of his runs in Queensland last prep. He was did run second, beaten half a length by Vega, won in the Kingsford Smith Cup. I think that's pretty solid, and some of his other runs in Queensland are quite good. So I think he can lead from barrier 5. I think that'll be the place to be on the night. And at the price, I think he's $8 with tab. I think that's a fair bet. Of the others, I think next pair, I couldn't really split the two of Savatu XL and Lombardo. Savatu XL was very good last start. That was first up in the Scalacci Stakes. The 3-year-old Dosh looks home for all money there. As you can see, Savatu XL in the green and yellow gets there on the line. We were with him that day, so that was a good result. Generally goes quite well second up. Goes well at 1,200 meters. I think he's going to be, that'll top him off nicely for this run. He's pretty adaptable in his racing pattern. I don't think he has to lead from barrier 8. He can probably just try and find a spot just behind the speed. I've got no real knock on him.
How's he won that race? He never looked like winning that at any stage until he was on the line and in front.
Yeah, I'm glad he did though. That was we were on him that day at about $7 or so. So happy that he did win that one. I've got no real knocks on him. He's really consistent. He's a Group 1 winner of the Goodwood. Loves 1,200 meters. Like I said, he's adaptable. I've just thought at the prices I'd rather be with Jonker, but he could come out and win and it wouldn't shock me whatsoever. Horse number 6, Lombardo, I think is the other main hope. Been a big fan of this horse for quite a while now, ever since his first preparation. Really come of age. Last start, I think it was the Village Stakes at Caulfield. Started at $1.80, was just too good for them. Don't think he handled Caulfield 100% either. Go back to his start, his run prior at this track and distance. He won by 4 lengths, just sitting behind the speed. Did it in really fast time. He's just on an upward spiral. He keeps progressing. Barrier 3, he'll be just behind the leaders as well. Might need a little bit of luck. I don't think he'll lead, but he's really progressive, and he's coming from a Morphettville BM78 win just 3 starts ago, and now he's almost favourite for a Group 1. So pretty astonishing rise, but yeah, I think he's a live chance as well.
All right, so sum up, how are we playing the Manikato from a betting point of view?
Yeah, so definitely Jonker on top. I think the $8 or so is a fair enough price. He's been well backed. I think he was about $13 the other day. And I think he's a good bet. I think the one that could potentially tempt me, if we keep getting a little bit of a drift, is one of the fillies, number 13, Crystal Bound. She was beaten probably maybe on her merits by Sneaky 5 last start, but I thought she ran well. She was kind of in a fast race on speed and just kept kicking, whereas it was kind of a swoopers dominated race. Go back to her debut. She won by 6 lengths at the Valley. Mara and Eustace know how to win this race with a 3-year-old. Of course, they did that with Loving Gabby a couple of years ago. This horse profiles similarly to her. So John Barrier 2, she could be the other one that's vying for the lead and might be suited on the night. But Jonker definitely on top, and Crystal Brown may be the saver.
All right, and there's a horse out of that Sneaky 5 race that I'm very keen on Saturday at Moonee Valley. I can't remember what race is it. Race number 3, you will help me out, Trent, please.
Oh, yep.
Ellison Zara, Damien Lane, Barrier 9.
Star Witness?
Not Star Witness. Star Waltz, maybe?
Star Waltz, that's it.
That's it. Yeah, it'll be going close at double figure odds. If you're looking for an early roughie at Moonee Valley on Saturday, race 3, Star Waltz, D Lane, Ellison Zara. Go watch this replay behind Sneaky. Was it that Sneaky 5 race? Go watch this replay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It's still trying to get out. All right, Graham sending through a comment nice and early in the show. Says, hi, guys. Got on. I made some good money on Nature Strip. Lol. Yeah, well, that makes 2 or 3 of us. That makes 2 or 3 of us. God bless Nature Strip. What a horse. Good show it was last week. Yeah. Nature Strip is our best bet of the day. I don't find him often, but when I do, thank God he paid me back for my faith in him. All right, let's move on to our best bets. Any other thoughts on Manikato Stakes night, Moonee Valley, Trent, before we move on to Saturday?
No, I think that covers it for the Manikato night. Let's get stuck into the Cox Plate day.
All right, first of our best bets, we'll start with me at Randwick. You can take a breather, Trent. Thanks for that. Speaking of train wrecks and horses this was a train wreck. This is my best bet of the day on Saturday at Randwick. Race 10, number 9, Gravina. Just get a load of this replay as I play it. This is the Godolphin filly on the far outside here. Rachel King, she just got a bit too far out of her ground on this occasion, and Big Parade was off and gone by the time that she got into the full swing of things. You can see her absolutely savage the line and just comes up short, unfortunately. Shudder down my spine. Look, it's a good form reference. Obviously, we saw Big Parade come out last weekend and win again. He put consecutive wins on the board, so the form's held up. Slight query here with the firm track, but that was a firm track last start at Randwick. So I'm hoping that based on that performance, the firm track here won't be of an issue. Not much of an issue. Trying to spit it out, but all 3 career wins have come on soft ground. So that's my one little concern with it. Big plus is Rachel King's off, Karen McAvoy's on. Barrier 1, that's the part of this that could be a train wreck. Look, if she's slow out of the gate, she could find herself 3 back the fence or something. But I'm hoping from barrier 1, she can just kind of settle further forward, box seat. She did that last preparation. I think she drew barrier 2 on at her first win last preparation and sat 4th, and then she drew barrier 2, settled 3rd behind the leaders. So I'm hoping from barrier 1 here, she can settle behind the leaders. Not too far off them. Pray to God that she gets a split, and I think she'll be too good. The other one I did like in that race, and this is one to include in your trifectas and first fours, is number 12, Fashion Elk. Ironically, Rachel King is off Gravina onto this horse. First up, she's had 3 starts for 2 wins and a second placing. That second placing was first up last preparation behind April Rain, who we know goes okay. What they do from barrier 13, I'm not sure. She does have the ability to go forward and sit on speed, but I thought at $26 she was well and truly over the odds in the last at Randwick. So Gravina, my best of the day, but yeah, I certainly won't be losing on Fashion L. All right, Trent, over to you. And your best bet at Moonee Valley comes up in race number 6. This is the Saturday we're talking about. Race 6, number 8, Embolism. He comes out of the Toorak handicap.
Yeah, it does. So he comes here 3rd up. I really liked his run in the Toorak. He was only 2nd up out of another fast run race where he stuck on well. You just see him, he kind of knocks up a little bit the last 100 metres or so in the dark green and black there. He's beaten about 2.5 lengths by I'm Thunderstruck. I think that's a really strong form race. I'm Thunderstruck looks a proper Group 1 horse. Like I said, he was only 2nd up there, so I think he's probably got more improvement to come. 3rd up here, stays at the mile. That's no problem. He just looks ready to peak compared to a couple of other horses in this race, namely Elephant, who's been up for quite a while and was a touch disappointing in that Toorak. So at the prices, definitely happy to be with Embolism. Definitely won't be losing on my old friend Buffalo River, who finally repaid us last start, found a wet track, led all the way. He's a very good horse when I think it's just you have to just back him when he gets wet ground and really take a few lengths off him on a good track. So it'll just be weather dependent for him. If the rain does come, we're on a soft 6. I'll definitely be having something on him as well. He's too good a horse to go around without me on. But yeah, pretty keen Embolism, maybe backing Buffalo River, track dependent.
Yeah, I couldn't. Buffalo River, he might be the first horse, maybe the second horse, to go straight from the sack file to the winner's circle the very next weekend. God bless him for you. He's not one of mine. But, he's paid you back for He's paid you back for sticking with him numerous times. I've lost count of the amount of times
I think he owes me a couple more, to be honest.
I reckon he might too. So I can't wait till he comes out and rolls you on Saturday at Moonee Valley. All right, we'll get into our best value bets and we'll just roll through these quickly before we then get stuck into the Cox Plate. My best value bet at Randwick on Saturday is going to come up in race number 6, horse number 2. This is Snowfire for Team Hawks, and I think Brock Ryan's doing the steering. Yep. He's drawn a little bit awkwardly out in barrier 12, but to be honest, I'd rather Brock Ryan be steering this horse in barrier 12 than Tommy Berry, because if Tommy Berry was on from barrier 12, in all likelihood be probably 3 lengths last. But Snowfire looks ready to do something now. He's improved with each of his runs this preparation. First up, no trial. He was down the track at Sandown. Trent, you probably recall that run. Second up, he showed good improvement to run 3rd behind Shibley and Reformist. I think he meets Shibley here once again. But 3rd up's where he comes into his element. He's had 2 starts for 2 wins when 3rd up from a spell. He's won on all kinds of surfaces, good, soft, and heavy, so no concerns there. and he's got 2 wins from 3 starts at the distance. So, like I said, I do concede he's drawn a little bit tricky out there in barrier 12, but I think he'll give us a good run for his money, currently $12 with TAB. So that's my best value bet of the day at Randwick on Saturday. Trent, you're with even something at even bigger odds. Your best value bet of the day at Moonee Valley on Saturday is race 5, number 6. I like big putts at $31.
Yeah, she is. So
And you cannot lie.
I cannot lie. Yeah. Sure. So she comes out of a race at Moonee Valley over the 15 or just over 1,500 meters, won by Rhinoceros. It's only a benchmark 64, and this is, I think it's a Group 3 race or a listed race. But I just don't like Group G. Yeah, this shouldn't be a Group 2. It's definitely not of a Group 2 standard for the fillies, and a few of these have just been going around in Saturday races, and I don't think the difference between these Saturday races and the kind of the midweek benchmark 64 is that much. So that race, she was kind of on the rail behind the leaders, looked to be under pressure quite a long way out. And it was just about at the 200-meter mark, she just started to pick up and was looking to kind of go up the inside when the leader came off the fence. And then the leader kind of laid back into the fence and just stopped her momentum. And I think it was a really hidden, and I was just because I was on her, I was watching her. But I thought she was just about to really pick up and make a challenge. So $31, I think barrier 10, she can roll across and lead or sit outside lead. And at the prices compared to some of these fillies who I just don't think are much better than the horses coming out of the benchmark 64s, I thought she was over the odds. Happy to be with her each way.
All right. We've had a question come through on Twitter. I can't display it on the screen. From Steve Edwards saying, boys, can you give me a tip for race 5 Friday night, please? Trent, I'm going to pass that one over to you.
I can do something on the fly for you, Stuart. Race 5. Okay, I said, 55-second challenge race.
I always leave them. I just...
On first glance, I would think that the favourite, Yulon Command, will be hard to beat. Definitely comes out of the best race, won by Curran. He led there, was only run down late. Curran's has since run very well in a Group 2 behind Oxley Road. Whether he gets it all his own way from barrier 9 would be a query. There looks to be a bit of speed. But he's definitely the horse to beat. And if he can get across without doing too much work, he'd be very hard to run down.
And Steve and anyone else watching, for Trent's full preview of Moonee Valley on Friday night, it will be up. I'm not sure when, Trent.
Tomorrow morning.
But it'll be up tomorrow morning on racingbet.com.au. So he'll have his selections for every single race tomorrow night at the Valley. And for that matter, anyone else with any questions or thoughts on the weekend's racing, keep firing them through, and we'll keep pulling them up on screen and giving you our thoughts if we can. All right, let's get into the Cox Plate, Trent, the main event of the weekend. They can throw all the money they want at these pop-up races in Sydney, but they've got nothing on races like the Caulfield Cup and the Cox Plate, although the Everest is pretty good. But we'll get into the Cox Plate, Moonee Valley. This is race 9 on Saturday. What would that be? Race number 17 of the weekend or something? How are you expecting,
I think so, yeah.
Expecting a certain part of the track to be cooked or favourable at this point?
Look, it all just depends on how much rain comes. If the rain comes and we're on to a soft 6, then the inside they'll probably be getting off the inside. And you just at the Valley, I always like to be. I think you can make ground when the track's playing, as it often does, but you just need to be within striking distance and mobile before the turn. So if these horses are kind of making that 3 wide move and they're not 8 lengths off them at the 400, but they're 4 lengths off them coming around the turn, they can win. And that's probably the way I'll be seeing it, is that they might be getting off the fence, but as long as you're close enough at the turn, you can run on.
All right, quick look at the market thanks to tab.com.au. Zaki clinging to favouritism at $3, top of the market, closely followed by Animo, who is closing in at $4. Then it gets Very Elegant, $5, and double figures the rest. I won't get your early thoughts on the market, Trent. We'll go through the chances of every runner, I reckon. So let's start off with Zaki. He's a big talking point. The case has been made that this horse isn't the same horse in Melbourne as we saw going the Sydney way and even before that in Brisbane. Of course, he went down at $1.26 in the Might and Power Stakes last start. There was even conjecture prior to that with his first win in Melbourne that he wasn't at his best. So give me your thoughts on him, and we'll have a look at that Might and Power Stakes as you speak.
Yeah, he's obviously a very, very talented horse when right. Look, I thought he had his chance in the Might and Power. I think there were, people threw up excuses left, right, and centre for him. I think the only one that had any credit was that maybe the tempo wasn't there for him. But, Nonconformist has come off his back and gone straight past him. Nonconformist is a good horse. But, look, I kind of agree with the line of thought that he hasn't been at his best since he's been in Melbourne. I thought his win in the Underwood was solid without being anything to rave about. I think the market is just going off his Doomben Cup win. That 7-length win, a lot of people more versed in ratings and data and all that jazz had this horse at rating through the roof and one of the best horses in the world that day. So if he gets back to that level, I think he'll win. I don't think there's many people that are doubting that, but I just don't think we've seen it since then. And, whether that was just a one-off peak performance and since then he hasn't been quite at that level again. So, look, I'm going to be against him, to be honest. I concede that he's a very good winning chance, and I think even if he doesn't get quite back to that Doomben Cup win, he's still a very good winning chance. But at $3, I don't know if I want to be backing him.
I will be. I'll give you my thoughts in a sec. Daryl commenting, good job last week, boys. Right on the money in the Everest and the Caulfield Cup. Thanks for that, Daryl. Yeah, Nature Strip was our best of the day and incentivised, obviously, getting the job done in the Caulfield Cup. Look, didn't really take any geniuses. They both started favourite on the day. So appreciate the comment, though, Daryl. Back to Zaki. I'm going to be with him. I think there's two lines of thought here, or the race basically revolves around your opinion on Zaki. You're with Zaki and you forgive him for last start, or you've really got to take a set against him and back, a couple of others. They always say don't sack a horse off one poor run, and I'm going to forgive him for that. Look, sometimes these small fields we see it time and time again with these small kind of muddling run races, small fields, and short price favourites that just don't live up to their quote. So I'm going to put a line through that and forgive him, and I'm going to butter up again. And the way the market's trending, we're going to get, probably definitely upwards of $3, potentially even $3.50 on the day. So for me, that's a good enough price on everything that he did before the Might and Power Stakes, and I'm going to butter up again. Barrier 6, perfect. Hopefully they run this race a little bit quicker than what they did in the Might and Power. I think the better the tempo, the better this horse will go. J-Max down from Sydney reunites with him. I think there's plenty of positives, and if you just are prepared to overlook that last start, I think he's good enough, or he's going to get to a good enough price where you could back him here. So, yeah, I'm going to be Team Zaki here, and when we get to Animo, I'll give you my thoughts on him as well. But let's move on to horse number 2, Dalasan. Ran third in the Epsom last start behind Private Eye and Arameo.
He did. Whether that's the right form line, maybe touch on that a little bit later with Mwanga. Look, he meets Mwanga out of that race, 3.5 kilos worse at the weights, and I thought Mwanga had a tougher run 3 wide in that race. He's very consistent. He did run third in the Queen Elizabeth at the end of last prep. Very elegant, ran second, so there's some kind of line, but that was a bunch finish, and he was a bit flattered, I think, that day. Map looks good for him. I don't think he'll disgrace himself and be beaten 10 lengths, but I can't see him running top 3.
Yeah, I can't see him winning. Bloyd Star 69 coming in on Twitter. Great show. Where do you see Mwanga running? Well, we're going to get to him, Bloyd Star 69, so stay tuned. Horse number 3, and a horse that's created plenty of conversation today, this being Thursday. Gold Trip, the European import, set to have his first Australian start for Kieran Maher and David Eustace, which we saw, was it last year's Cox Plate with Sir Dragonet? Similar kind of setup. I think it was last year, unless I've skipped a year. Similar kind of setup. But, of course, the big query about this horse today was that Racing Victoria vets have failed him from a vet test perspective. So he's going to need to prove his fitness in the next 2 days before the race. Never good for a horse, especially coming into this first up off a 15-week break, to be carrying a lameness issue, Trent.
No, and from kind of reading between the lines and what the connections have said, it does seem quite unlikely that they think it's going to be overturned. I think he was lame on both the off hind and near hind. He's lame in 2 legs, so it's never ideal. But if he is here and they think he's fine, and the jockey and trainer and everyone thinks he's fine, I think he's a big player because he's got some elite overseas form.
Well, this is him running third the last time he raced.
I think that was to Broome, I believe it was. It was a very handy staying mare. He's got a lot of form over 2,400 metres. I actually prefer him at 2,000. I've gone back and watched almost all of this horse's replays, maybe his last 6 or so. And I think he's got a really sharp turn of foot. You see him just there on the outside there. He kind of looms into it and then just doesn't really go on with it the last 50. I think he's got about a 300-metre sprint on him. I think that's going to really suit the Valley if he can just kind of be saved up for one last crack at them, and he's got a really good turn of foot. He's only had one start on a good track. He was beaten 2.5 lengths by Mogul in a Group 1. I think it was the Grand Prix de Paris. Mogul, of course, a very handy horse. I think it won a Hong Kong Vase last year. So, look, I've got no problems with him on a good track or a soft track or at 2,000. It's just whether he's here and ready to go. If he is, I think he's a live winning chance and should be single figures.
Fascinating stuff. All right, move on to the Kiwi. Now, this was the other horse, the second of the horses to fail the vet's test. Some concerns about this horse being lame as well. Call sign Mav. The Kiwi, your thoughts, Trent, coming off back-to-back wins in the Tarzino Trophy and the Winter Park Plate.
Yeah, the thing is there, though, they were over 1,400, 1,600. The one time this horse has been to 2,000, I think he was beaten fair and square, just over 3 lengths in a fairly average race. So I can't see him being competitive in a high-pressure 2,000-metre race. He's got early speed, could lead if they want to, could just sit just off them, but I think he'll knock up late. I can't see him being competitive.
All right, moving on to horse number 5, Moonga, who... he should have won the Epsom. Of course, he won the Wink Stakes first up, beating Very Elegant. He then ran second to a handy little horse called Incentivize in the Group 1 Mackay Bediva Stakes. We saw that horse, of course, absolutely piss in the Caulfield Cup last weekend. Moonga then carried top weight, 57 kilos, drew barrier 13, sat 3 wide the trip and was beaten a length and a half in the Epsom handicap by Private Eye, who carried 6 kilos less. I'm absolutely convinced, and of course I did back him on the day, but I'm absolutely convinced if this horse had cover and a more economical run, he would have won the Epsom. I think he's a little bit of value here at double figure odds. And I'll pass to you, Trent, while I play his replay of the top from the Epsom.
Yeah, you could make the case he was unlucky. I mean, I was with Private Eye. I thought it was a pretty good win coming from last. Yes, he had the light weight, but he still had to pick them all up. I just don't know if this is the right form line. The horses around him, yes, he had the top weight, but Arameo, Private Eye, you got Dallison whacking away there as well. I think he's come back a really good horse this time in, though he always looked like a horse that would improve as a 4-year-old. The run prior in the Mackay Bediva I thought was really good. Only 0.3 lengths off Incentivize. What I will say about that, though, is that they went really slowly in that race. And we know Incentivize, once he got out to a trip, his best asset is to just run them into the ground. So I think he was potentially a touch flattered with that margin. I can see the case that his value at double figures. I think he's been quite well backed as well. I think he's into closer to his right price around that $12 mark. I think he's a good winning chance. I think he's looking for the 2,000 meters now, 4th up. Hugh Bowman knows how to win a Cox Plate or 2, and I think he's a definite exotic hope.
We look at him. Yeah, he's $12 and $3 the place, right? He's beat Very Elegant first up. Very Elegant then come to Melbourne and run below par, and she's a $5 chance here, and Moonga's $12. So barrier 4, he's going to be ridden by a bloke called Hugh Bowman. I think he knows something about winning a Cox Plate or 2 or 4. Just gets a perfect setup. Yeah, he's won over the distance before. He's flying, I reckon, and I think he's definitely a terrific each way chance at double figure odds. Moonga. Speaking of Very Elegant, she was a flopperoonie in the Turnbull last start behind Incentivize. Can she atone here?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what to do with her, to be honest. I saw some kind of commentary and data that it was a very fast run race, the Turnbull, and everything else out on top of the speed kind of completely dropped out except Incentivize, who could be an absolute freak. Already is an absolute freak, to be honest. Very Elegant sat just behind the speed, loomed into it, and she just couldn't finish off. She couldn't absorb that pressure from from sitting close to that brutal speed, which is a bit of a concern. Maybe they ride her a little bit quieter here from barrier 9. I think to be really ultra competitive here, I think she'll need a soft track. Obviously she can handle good tracks and she's won Group 1s on good tracks, but we know how much better she is when she gets her toe in. The other query for mine is the Valley. She's only been here once. It was in the 2019 Cox Plate. Look, she was a much better horse now, and nothing went right that day, but she was beaten about 12 lengths or so. And I'm not sure that her style is suited to the Valley. She's got a really awkward stride, and she might be better suited on a big track. Really not sure what to do with her at $5. I found her one of the tougher horses to assess in the race. Probably happy to let her go unless it was really wet.
All right, moving on to the next horse is number 7, Probabile. Of course, we've just shown the replay of her beating Nonconformist and Zaki in the Group 1 Might and Power Stakes. What do we do with her? Barrier 7, Jamie Richards, Brett Preble.
Yeah, well, she's another one that's really tricky. She's the opposite. She really needs a good track, I think. And if we're on a soft, anything worse than a soft 5, the worst side of a soft 5, I think she is, almost next to none. I think she really needs a firm deck. I think she ticked the 2,000 meter box last start quite well. Zaki started $1.26 against her and is now $3, and I'm someone that believes in an SP profile from that point of view. So I'm finding it hard to kind of come in to Probabile, but if we do get a good track, I think she's a very handy mare. She's, very good, very consistent, and she'll probably run top 4 or so, but it's just whether we're on a good track or not.
All right, the second of the internationals is number 8, State of Rest. Joseph O'Brien and John Allen booked to ride. We've seen this horse race in Ireland, England, America. We've seen him go everywhere. First up here off an 11-week break. He, of course, won at Saratoga last time we saw him over a similar distance. Hard horse to assess, I think, but you can never really count these runners from the O'Brien camp.
He's very difficult to assess. Look, I went back and watched that race in America as a Saratoga Derby or something. I've got, honestly no idea about American form. Visually, it looked like a nice win. He came from midfield. He won well. I don't know about the horses that he was beating, but going off his form prior in the UK, which I do have some idea about, he was being well beaten by horses that I think would be, a length worse than the horses that Gold Trip has been facing. So on that point of view, I think Gold Trip's definitely the pick of the two. I think another thing to note as well is that I think he needs a good track. He was beaten nearly 9 lengths by Max Sweeney, who is a very good 3-year-old over in the UK at the moment on a heavy track. But we saw that USA run was on a really lightning fast deck. So I think he'll need a good 3, good 4 to be competitive. And even then, he's a tricky one to line up, but I was happy to be against.
All right, let's get to this horse who is probably at the top of your boyfriend list. Number 9, Animo, a 3-year-old colt, 49.5 kilos. C. Williams booked to ride from barrier 10 for the Godolphin camp. Of course, he comes off a last start win in the Caulfield Guineas. Steps up to 2,000 metres for the first time. Trent, awkward barrier draw, but I think you're pretty keen.
Yeah, I've got him on top. It's an open race, but I loved this win in the Guineas. It was the fastest Caulfield Guineas, I believe, in history. And he came from well off the speed. Yes, he only just got over the top of Captivant, but I thought the last 50 metres or so he was really pulling away from him. I think the other thing to note as well, that this horse has been half a run behind his whole prep, basically. He came out of a slowly run race first up in the Run to the Rose, went to a very fast run Golden Rose, where I am, and many of other people are of the opinion that he probably wins without any bias on the day. Came out of that.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, he should have won. Comes out of that into, the fastest run Guineas in history. Still wins from them going away on the line. Was backed into $2.10. The market loved him even from that wide gate. I've got no problems with him at 2,000 metres. I think off that run, it looked like he was almost looking for 2,000 metres. So 49.5 kilos, 3-year-olds in the Cox Plate. We can see how potent they can be. Craig Williams, of course, 2 years ago, rode Castelvecchio into second in this race behind Lee Gracheur. I thought he rode that horse perfectly that day. Just he has to get moving early and just try and make advantage of that lightweight. The draw is probably not ideal, but I think if he can get on the back of a horse probably either Very Elegant or Probable would be the two most likely ones. And if they can just take him into the race at about the 800, he might be able to just come around them and try and sprint quicker with the lightweight. With the queries on Zaki and whether he's at his absolute best, I have to be with Animo here, and I can see the market really loving him. I think he might start favourite.
I think there's a good chance. He won't be getting a cent of my money, though. Not a cent. I'm taking him on. Can't win.
Can't win.
No, he can win. He can win, but I'm going to be against him. Look, I take all your points there, but I'm going to stick with Zaki, and if I'm sticking with Zaki, I've probably got to take on Animo, unless you think it's too.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But, look, I just think, where does he get to from barrier 10? He's going to be back.
I think he'll be last.
Yeah, so he's going to be back at last. Probably a high pressure run race. These typically are the Cox Plates. I know he's got 49.5 kilos, but he's going to have to loop him the whole field. Almost like a la Yankee Rose a few years ago, and she couldn't do it. She could only run third, I think, on that occasion. I know he's probably a better horse, but I just think, despite having the featherweight, from barrier 10, I just think it's such an awkward draw. They have to go back. James Cummins is on radio this morning basically saying he's going to be ridden for his best feature, which is his finish. So they're going to ride him conservative. And I just think, if he's having to loop the entire field, first time up to 2,000 metres taking on older horses, it's enough for me to risk him at $4. I'd much rather be with Zaki, who's kind of been there and done that. Yeah, comes off a poor run, but kind of has the runs on the board. So, yeah, Animo, I'm going to be taking him on. Look, I'm terrified of him, but there's just enough for me kind of not to be keen. If this was a leader, like a horse that could settle in the first four, I think it'd be different. But it just terrifies me, the fact that he's going to have to go back and have to loop the field.
Yeah, and you do see with 3-year-olds, what they try and do with the lightweight is if they can be put on speed, it's a big advantage to them to be able to just sit on speed and then just try and take off early with the lightweight and just play catch me if you can. He's not going to be able to do that. So that is a query, and I definitely take that on board. I just feel like he's the one that's just on that upward spiral, and with a couple of knocks on a few other horses in the race, I think he's at his peak and he's only getting better each run. So I think like you said with Zaki, I think you're either with him or against him, and if you can't really be backing both. So I can see either point. I'm going to be with him, but I know he'll divide opinion a bit.
Well, I think, the only way you can back both here is if you just think it's a 2-horse race and you're basically backing one and saving on the other. But you're eating up into your percentage a fair bit then. Yeah, and I just can't take $4 about Animo when Zaki's $3 and probably going to get out a little bit more. Okay, we'll touch on this final runner. Then we've got a couple of viewer questions to put up. Speaking of 3-year-olds with lightweight going to the front, do we see Captivant lead? Barrier 1, 49.5 kilos.
I don't think he'll lead. Read an article today. I think they want to try and use the gate and I think he could land leaders back from barrier 1. I don't think he's going to lead.
I don't think he'll be any worse than the leaders back.
He doesn't have a stack of early speed, but up to 2,000 meters for the first time, and like you said, drawn barrier 1. I think leaders back is where they'll definitely be aiming for, and just try and look for a gap at about the 600 and try and take off and like I said, play that catch me if you can kind of role. Look, I thought Animo beat him fair and square in the Guineas. He was pulling away from him late. And like I said, I thought Animo probably still has more improvement to come with being only third up. Animo started $2.10. Captivant started $26 in that Guineas. Now it's $4 and $18, and Animo beat him fair and square. I think that's too big a price swing for mine when I think Animo's clearly got more upside to come. So if he gets the right run, which I can see him doing, I think he's a chance. But I think Animo's clearly the better horse, and I'd be happy to stick with him over Captivant.
And if the track gets too soft, I think Captivant's probably in struggle city even more. Graham saying, will J-Mac take Zaki to the front and set the tempo for the race? I wouldn't think so, Graham.
Disagree. I think he will.
You think so?
It depends. I think they want to avoid what happened last start, where they got stuck in a sit and sprint sitting off the speed. There's not really a natural leader. Callsign Mav has been right up on speed in shorter trips around New Zealand, but they've come out and said that they don't necessarily want to lead at 2,000 meters because, he's a bit of a query at the trip. And from there, there's not really much else that goes forward. Dalasan can be on speed. I don't know if they want to lead with him. Gold Trip doesn't have a stack of early speed. Mwanga, I can't see leading. Very Elegant, I can't see leading. Probably no. State of Rest, no idea what they do from the map. He can go forward or back. And Animo won't lead. And Captivant, like we said, I don't think will lead. So I think Zaki will just kind of take his time, sit outside, probably call Sun Mav or Dalasan early. And if they're not going fast enough, J-Mac will just take it up and run the race on his terms.
Yeah, I think, well, you look at Dalasan's last preparation, ran third in the Doncaster, beaten the length. Next start, up to 2,000 metres in the Queen Elizabeth, change of tactics to be ridden more forward, led, and ran third again behind a David, Very Elegant. I think from barrier 3, they'll be looking to obviously settle right on speed. Wouldn't surprise me if he was the leader. If Corson Mav sits outside him, where does that leave Zaki?
Yeah, well, they won't want to get stuck 3 wide. I think in that case as well, I think they'd almost just end up just saying, right, push the button. We're the best horse in the race, and we're going to try and run these into the ground. So I can definitely see Graham's point that he could take him to the front. I think it'll just be a matter of what happens early, but it definitely would not shock me at all.
All right. Hopefully that answers it for you, Graham. Okay, let's sum up the Cox Plate then, Trent. From my point of view, I'll be back in Zaki. Just gonna stick with my gut instinct that he's. No. I'll back Zaki as my main result. I'm just gonna bank on the fact that I think he's the best horse. Happy to forgive one run, and as I said all before, he's out to a backable price now. I think the real value in the race is Moonga. Just gets an absolutely dream run from barrier 4. Hugh Bowman on. I think the horse is flying. I think if he had won that Epsom last start, he wouldn't be $15 or $12 or whatever he is. I think he's clearly the value. I'm actually quite happy the Gold Trip has got fitness concerns, because I was probably going to try and look to back him as well, but I'll probably leave him out now that he's got a lameness issue. And that'll be about it, I think. So main bet Zaki, smaller bet Moonga at double figure odds, and that'll do me. Over to you.
Yeah, I'm Animo on top. I think he can potentially start shorter. Definitely take your point, Zaki. He's definitely a backable price if you like him. Considering he started $1.28 and $1.18 in his last 2. But I'm just going to be against him here. If Gold Trip's here and he's okay, I think he's a very big chance. And, off his UK form, it's probably the best form. Running 4th in an arc, 3rd to the likes of Meristralis, Broom is very good form. So definitely want him on side, and I can definitely see your point, Moonga. If Gold Trip comes out, I'll probably save Moonga. Back Animo, save Moonga.
All right. Quick question coming through from Justin. Says, what is the lay of the day?
Good question.
It's a good one for you, Trent.
Justin.
There's a horse in Sydney I think you'll be against.
Cryodirus. Yeah, I could lay him. He's got talent, but I think there's a couple. Race 3, that one that you like is Star Waltz. I think one of the horses that comes out of that race, New York Baby, she had every chance in that race, and quite a few behind her didn't. I think she looks very short as favourite. I'd be surprised if Robadera, Star Waltz don't turn the tables on her. And there was another one, race 5, Heresy. She was a horrible watch in the 1,000 Guineas last start. It was well backed and had absolutely nowhere to go. Got into bumping jewels left, right, and centre. But I don't think she actually runs a mile, so I don't think she would have even won that. Her races before, she was all out at the end of 1,400 metres. She's got that flashing light run because she was so unlucky, and she's $3.30 here, and I'm just not sure if she's going to run the trip. So Heresy and New York Baby would be my lays of the day.
Yeah, dead set. How is New York Baby $4 and Star Waltz is $11 or $12? That will absolutely do me. But everyone can thank me when Star Waltz wins race 3 at the Valley on Saturday, double figure odds. Put a bit of cash in your pocket for the Cox Plate, and then load it all into Zaki and Moonga. Boys, we'll have an absolute fill up. Okay, Trent, any other thoughts? Any other thoughts on either day in Melbourne or Sydney?
No, I think we've gone in depth there. We've definitely covered a few races. Can't wait. Cox Plate Day. It's like I said, it's my favourite race of the year. I think it's the best horses. We've got a great field, a small select, high quality field. I can't wait to see Animo up against Zaki and all the big boys, and hopefully he can get it done.
All right, quick one before we go. We have launched the premium side of the website. So if you just head to racingbet.com.au, click on premium tips up the top here to take you to this page. And what it basically is on Discord. There's a free section to join on Discord. So we're just building a little community, I suppose. Let me just get this full screen. We're building a little Discord community. So if you head to the premium tip section on the website, you'll see the link here to join the RacingBet Discord channel. Okay, so if you click that, it'll take you through to the step-by-step process of joining it. As I said, there's a free part of it. So even if you're not keen to subscribe to the premium stuff, you can just jump in the free section with the rest of the community. And then if you are keen for the more premium stuff, and these are our bets that aren't going on the website, a little bit more in-depth information, some futures plays. Trent's been putting plenty of really valuable stuff in the Discord channel. You've got a couple of options here: your silver package, your gold package, and your platinum package. Basically a week, a month, or a 6-month package. It's all there in black and white for you. So just jump onto the premium tips section of the website and you can have at it. And we look forward to everyone joining the Discord channel. And there's been some really good stuff happening in the Discord channel so far. So looking forward to plenty of people joining in. Graham saying, can Incentivise carry 57 kilos for the Melbourne Cup and win? The last horse was Gold Black in 1977. I have $600 at $9 for the Caulfield Melbourne Cup double on Incentivise. Just some pretty good shopping, Graham. Trent?
Absolutely can. I'd be shocked if he was getting beaten, to be honest. This is a proper stayer. Sat wide, good speed. He just ran them into the ground in the Caulfield Cup. Can't see anything in Australia beating him. The only danger is Spanish Mission, I think. And I think Incentivise will be winning the Melbourne Cup, and he could win almost anything in the world off of what he's doing at the moment.
Yeah, Graham. Look, I know you stand to collect 5,400 there. I think, if my maths is correct,
Quick maths.
I've got quick maths. But I've got a ticket at 30-1 for Spanish Mission. So all my hopes and prayers that horse wins. I hope for your sake someone pays out early again for Incentivise to win the Melbourne Cup, and so you collect your $5,000. But yeah, my live ticket on Spanish Mission at 30-1 hasn't been paid out yet, so I'm hoping that's the way it'll go. Okay, that'll do us for another week, Trent. Thanks to tab.com.au for sponsoring this week's episode. It's a huge weekend ahead. You can find all our stuff on racingbet.com.au. You'll have a race-by-race preview from Trent for Moonee Valley on Friday night. You'll have Randwick race-by-race by me on Saturday. I'll have some selections for Ascot on Saturday. And, of course, Cox Plate Day. Trent will have you covered for every single race at the Valley as well. As I said, jump on the RacingBet premium tips part of the website. Join our Discord channel. Even if you don't want to subscribe to a payment, you can join the free section there and get involved. And if you are keen for a little bit more information and some more bets throughout the week, then there's a few options there that you can sign up with. All right, Trent, all the very best for Cox Plate weekend. A couple of comments before we come. Hayden saying Incentivise is a moral for mine. There you go, Hayden. There you go, Graham.
Good work, Hayden.
You've got one more supporter in your corner. Hayden's in your corner as well. All right, thanks for your company this week, guys. We'll be back to do it all again next weekend, same time and place, Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Not Perth time. It's 5:30 over here, 6:30 now. All right, thanks for your company and catch you next week.